Hey everybody, Jason here again. Okay, I'm gonna make a kydex sheath for my Mora Pro Robust. I already made a leather sheath for this, but I'm gonna try out a kydex one and see how that works. Okay, I'm pretty new at kydex. I think this is maybe the 4th or 5th sheath I've made. So I am by no means an expert. I'm just showing you the way I do it. And so here we go. This is enough to fold over here. I'm going to cut off about 2.5 inches here and save that. Where is my razor blade? So I'm going to draw a quick line here. This is the same pen I use for my leather work. And then I'm just going to score this. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then you can cut that a couple times and you can just snap it with your hands. And I got a couple of these pieces. These are good for making fire steel loops for your kydex sheaths. So I got a couple here. I'll probably put a fire loop. So I think this will be good. It's gonna be a fold over. So I think that'll be good. Probably could have cut off more, but it's always better to have a little bit more than too little. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and put the kydex in the oven. Before we get to the oven, I wanted to show you the press I got. I bought this off of knifekits.com, and it's 1/4 inch thick steel plate. It's got a couple of grooves in the back for different levels. I don't know what you call those. And this came with a chain that you're supposed to screw in right about here, and then it locks here when you're pressing it. I didn't like it, so I went and picked myself up a little DeWalt clamp. You just put it like that. But anyway, really nice press. I think it was about 85 bucks. And about $109 with shipping because this thing weighs like 20 pounds. But really heavy duty press. It's worked really good. No complaints at all. I got it bolted into my table here underneath, and works good. Alright, so we're gonna go take our kydex. I got the piece over here right now. Should fit in there, perfect. I put this in at 325, and I just watch it. I just keep an eye on it and check it every now and then. So as soon as it's ready, we'll come back and we'll put it in the press. One thing real quick before we get this pressed in the mold. I put blue masking tape around the blade. I guess you're supposed to do that. Not everybody does it. It was a tip I learned off of somebody on YouTube. It gives you somewhat of a small amount of space between the blade and the kydex, so your blade isn't scraping too much against the kydex. I've been having problems of my blades getting scratches on them, and so this time I actually wrapped a little bit more than I normally do. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. Keep the blade getting scratched. This is probably going to leave little marks in the kydex sheath. Hopefully not. Well, we'll see. But yeah, totally recommend putting some tape on the blade. Alright, here we go. And to be honest, this is actually the second time I'm doing this. I did mess up the first time, and so I had to reheat it. So, and I'll tell you, there's a little trick I learned here. Looks like I'm messing this up again. See how this one turns out. Okay, that trick, let me see if I can give you an example. Alright, I got some paper towels. Basically what I did is I put the knife... Okay. Let's use this as an example. Here's the knife. I wrap the kydex around it like that and put it in there. But what I do is I just let the pressure of the top lay on it, and then I actually pull the knife this way. Like that. And that's pushing the spine against the folded part of the kydex, and will help allow you to give a nice, it'll help that kydex go right around the blade instead of smushing off to the side, if that makes sense. But alright, so while that's cooling, we're gonna go do the ferro rod loop. Alright, so we got the piece for the ferro rod loop. It's about 2.5 inches. I don't want it that big, but you always want it bigger because we're gonna sand it down. This is probably about 5 inches, I think. 2.5 by 5, and we're gonna throw this in here. Same thing, 325, and then I'll show you how I form it. Alright, I got the kydex. I gotta do this real fast. I'm gonna take the ferro rod and put this around here, and I'm actually gonna take this brick, my granite, and kind of form it. Kind of press it together. I've had a few problems doing this. I've had to redo it a couple times. Just like that, you get it in there real quick and let that cool. We'll see how that works once it cools. But that's it. I did it real quick. Wrap it around there. You've got one piece to press it against, and the other one goes on top of it. And kind of explain that a little bit more once this cools. Hopefully that came out okay. Looks pretty snug in there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take this, I think this should be cooled down enough. I'm going to do the clamp. Yeah. So you can see the basic form. I think that's pretty good. You can't see too much of that tape, but that should be a nice little pancake fold over. Obviously we'll have to get rid of all this stuff. Break that open a little bit. Nice and snug. Have to sand that down. But that's it's fairly straight. Now what I like to do is go and put this in the freezer for like 5 or 10 minutes just so everything cools down. It's still a little warm, so we'll go do that. Okay, so we're gonna check our fire rod, and I think that came out pretty good. I mean, definitely have to sand it. Yeah, nice fit. This one's pretty much cooled down. I don't need to put this in there. But if you guys can kind of understand, get what I did right there, you can use a piece of wood or whatever. You don't exactly have to use granite, but this is nice because it's heavy. But when this kydex is floppy, when it's hot, you wrap it around, and basically you're going to kind of stick it against this part for a brace, and then you're going to stick this on top of it, which crunches down that seam. It helps to kind of form it a little bit with your hand first, and then just stick it on top of it and press it in like that, and that seems to work pretty good. And I don't want it this big. We're going to probably take off probably about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to sand that down, and so next we'll be going to the shop. Alright guys, so just got this out of the freezer. I only had it in there for a couple of minutes just to cool it real fast. I think it came out pretty good. And okay, I took the tape off the knife, and this is kind of what I'm going for. A lot of guys have their own styles. I like this. I'm more of a vertical carry guy. I'm not really big into the cross draw horizontal carry, so I'll be doing something a little bit more like this. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of mark where I want my eyelets, and where is, I pretty much eye this I'm gonna put this knife right here. I like to have about, well, there's no need to have a lanyard on here, so I'm gonna mark one of them right here. And where to mark this top one, I've noticed, has a lot to do with the retention of taking the knife in and out. Wherever this top fastener is gonna have a lot to do with the sheath coming apart. And you know, that's for me, I'm getting into this, so for me it's a guessing game, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go right there and then kind of see if I can evenly space these. Just kind of freehanding it, as you can see. So yeah, I think that'll work. And just have a nice slope going down. Yep. So we're gonna go drill these and then put in our eyelets. All right, guys, we're gonna drill some holes. I'm using a 1/4 inch drill bit because my eyelets are 1/4 inch. And that's it. We're gonna go ahead and drill them. Alright guys, so we got our holes drilled here. I think that those came out alright. And what you can do, these look pretty clean. If they're not, you can always take your razor blade to scrape out some flash here. Some of the excess. But I think those look okay. So what I'm using is just some gunmetal colored eyelets. I know a lot of guys, everyone's using the small black ones. That's cool. I like to be a little bit different, so I use these bigger gunmetal color ones, and I can get them locally. So I want this right hand carry, so I'm gonna have these go in this way, and yeah, that fits. So I got my setter here, and where's my hammer? And that's pretty much it. Alright, so there they are. We got them positioned, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if I can cut off some of this excess with some scissors or something, some super shears, and then we'll go sand down the rest. Alright guys, I got a 80 grit belt on there, 80 grit, and make sure you wear some kind of dust mask, respirator when you're doing this. And we're just going to sand it away. Alright, we're going to do, I'm going to grind down the fire steel loop a little bit. I got this kind of where I want it. I'm going to have this down on these two right here. So we're going to shave this down quite a bit. And, because I'm going to have a leather piece going this way. So this is going to be sitting down about there. And, yeah, so I'm going to grind this down a little bit. Alright guys, I switched to a 320 grit belt and we'll smooth this out a little bit. Alright guys, I got a little cylinder sander on here I'm going to use to kind of clean up this area. And this is just trial and error. Sanding off as much as you need and then seeing if the blade fits. That's just kind of trial and error, I guess. You just keep going. Alright, guys. Now we're just going to buff up the edges on the pieces of kydex here. Alright, so these pieces were done. I'm just going to rinse these off in some warm water and try to get out as much of the debris and what was left over. And then we'll blow them out. Alright, so next thing to do, I gotta drill some holes for the fire loop, and that's gonna be fairly simple. I'm just gonna kind of hold it where I want and mark it with a marker in there and drill it. And then, but as far as the sheath itself, came out real good, nice snap. It's pretty tight, but this guard area on the Mora is fairly rubbery, and I know that's gonna wear. So I didn't want to do it too loose, but it's got a nice snap in there. Really no play at all. That wrapping that tape around a little bit thicker seemed to work. You can kind of see it. You can kind of see a little texture there of the tape, but I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and finish up the fire loop. Okay, so all I did was just put my ferro rod in there and just kind of hold it where I wanted it and marked it with that pen. And so I'm going to go drill out these two holes. These holes will be a little bit smaller. Whoops. These holes will not be 1/4 inch. They'll be smaller because of the Chicago screws I'll be using. I'm going to use a size I use depending on the Chicago screws you guys use. You're going to have to figure out that size. But so I'm going to go drill them and be right back. Alright guys, so I got the holes drilled in the fire rod loop. I know that might be a little hard to see. But, so, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go wipe both these pieces down with some Hanwei oil and really make it stand out. And then we'll screw this on. Alright guys, I'm back. Now you can kind of see the difference. This is after I oiled it. Oil never hurts plastic, it actually helps it. Keeps it from drying out and cracking. But yeah, you can see the difference in that. I use Hanwei oil, it's sword oil. I mean, you can use WD-40, whatever you want, doesn't matter. Corn oil, vegetable oil. But it cleans it up real nice, makes it pop. Now, I'm going to use some, see if I can zoom this in here for you guys. I'm going to be using some Chicago screws here. These are gunmetal color. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can just bring them up here. Anyway, guess you can't. I'm going to use these to put on the fire loop. Same color as the eyelets. Alright, so there we go. We got the Chicago screws. Got the ferro rod on there, or the loop, and here's the ferro rod. I'm going to put a lanyard, a little bungee. I mean, that's not coming off anyway, but over time if you use it, it will. So I'm going to hook up a bungee system on there. And the knife, one last thing, the vertical loop I'm going to make for this. Sorry guys, I'm not going to show me making a leather strap for this, so next scene will be the finished product. You guys have seen my leather work before, but I'm just going to go ahead and make that leather vertical strap for it. Alright guys, we are done. There it is. There is the leather attachment. Comes around the front there. Nice retention. Nice snap. Ferro rod loop on there. Ooh, I am liking it. I'm liking it. I think it came out great. There you go, guys. A little kydex sheath for the Mora Pro Robust. Hope you guys like it, because I do. I think I'm going to be wearing this a lot, even though I hardly ever go anywhere. But summer's right around the corner, so I'll be wearing this. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.